this is Payal Nanjiani, and welcome to Leadership Talks with me. Today, I want to talk to you about mid-career crisis. And how did I come up with this? Well, a few days ago, I was sitting at the NSCI club working on my fifth book, when a gentleman walked up to me and said that I have been following your work and could I have 5 minutes of your time? So I put my pen down, closed my file, and I gave him the full attention. He looked at me and he said, Payal, I am 45 years old, and I think I'm going through a mid-career crisis. I have absolutely no clarity about what's next for me. Now, I smiled because I knew immediately that this wasn't going to be a 5-minute conversation. So as I listened to him, I realized I'd heard this story hundreds of times before. I've heard this story not from struggling professionals. I've heard it from highly successful senior leaders whom I coach, leaders with impressive titles, leaders with skills, experience, decades of experience, and leaders whom everyone admires. And yet, privately, many of them are asking this question, what's next for me? So what worries me is that most senior leaders don't even realize they are entering into a complete mid-career crisis until they've come to a point where it's irreversible. It begins much earlier than what we can see. And what are some of the signs that you are entered into a mid-career crisis? Well, first, initially, the excitement at work disappears. You stop feeling challenged. You start counting the years until retirement. You spend more time dreaming about another career than improving the one you have. You become distracted by everyone and what they are doing. And slowly, you begin to lose clarity. And that loss of clarity is so dangerous because once you stop seeing your future, you stop investing in it, you stop learning, you stop stretching yourself outside of your comfort zone, you stop taking bigger responsibilities, and you become comfortable. And comfort, my friend, is one of the biggest threats to a senior leader's career. And then what happens? You begin to resign. You're convinced that a new company will solve the problem. And 6 months later, you're asking the same question, what's next for me? And that frustrates you much more. Because by now you have left your job, you've got into something else which you had no idea about. Some people, they stay where they are, hoping that that feeling will disappear, but it does not disappear. Instead, you reach a plateau. You become less visible. You become less relevant. And eventually, younger leaders with fresher thinking begin to overtake you. Not because they have more experience, but because they are still growing. And this is why I believe that the real challenge today is ignoring this mid-career crisis. You make it the leaders who continue to grow aren't necessarily smarter. They simply recognize that this transition is going to come to them and they begin to reinvent themselves. The question by my friend today is not whether you will face a mid-career crisis or not, because every senior leader does it. Every senior leader faces it. The question is, will you recognize it before it quietly begins to redefine your career? So be aware, because a mid-career crisis doesn't destroy careers overnight. It quietly erodes them over time. And by the time you realize it, it's pretty late. So make your decisions thoughtfully about what your next phase of the career is going to be. Don't mess up your current career just because you want something more exciting out there. Be very clear in your thought what you want and why you want it. Until the next time, this is Payal Nanjiani wishing you loads of success in your career life. God bless.